I've chosen this allocation problem today because it's different from the usual minimize questions that are given. This was in the 2020 paper, and they have asked you to maximize the team score. So let's read. It talks about 3 players who can be given 3 batting positions, and the average scores and runs for each player is given in the table. Now they want to assign each player to a batting position. To which position should each player be assigned to maximize the team score? Now, in order to maximize, it's the same as a minimize problem except for the very first step. The very first step asks you to take the maximum value given in the table, which as you can see is 25, and subtract each value given in the table from 25. So if you do 25 take away 22, it gives you 3. 25 take away 24 gives you 1, and similarly you work it out for all the values in the given table. So that's your first step, to convert to a minimizing problem by finding the maximum value in the table given and subtract every cell value from this maximum. Now once you've done that, you continue to work like a normal minimizing problem by subtracting, doing a row reduction and a column reduction from the values that you have got on subtraction. So here I've explained to you the row reduction. Now the original values that we got were 311004 in the second row and 1006. Now if you see, we see that the first row has no zeros in it. The second and the third row have. So we do a row reduction by subtracting the lowest value in that particular row, -1, and of course the rest are all 0 because the lowest value is 0. And that gives you this table with the following values. So 3 take away 1 is 2, 1 take away 1 is 0, and 1 take away 1 is 0, and the remaining stay the same. Now the main purpose of doing these reductions is to actually be able to assign by covering the maximum number of zeros by the minimum number of lines. By the minimum. So you've got to be careful while doing this. So there are many ways you can cover, but usually we try to get some horizontal lines and some vertical lines. Now the first thing I saw was that there were 3 zeros in this particular column, so you cover it with a line. And then looking at the zeros that were left, there was 1 in the first row, there was 1 in the second row, and so I covered that. Now some of you may say, is it possible to do it any other way? In this particular question it's not, because the maximum number of zeros is in the second column. Okay, so you should first try and cover the maximum number of zeros with a line and then look at the others. Now if you say, can we actually, instead of doing this, do a straight line that covers this, that goes this way? Of course, and you'll get the same answer. But because we usually like a crisscross, we try and get some horizontal and vertical lines. So these are the lines that we've drawn. Now once you draw the lines, you have to try and see if the number of lines is equal to the number of allocations that you have. So we've got 3 allocations that we need to make, and if you look at it, we have 3 lines. So 3 lines is equal to 3 people or 3 allocations. Now it's important to write this because they ask you in the exam as to why you were not able to allocate after a particular step. So you have to say, if you got only 2 lines, you have said 2 lines is not equal to 3 allocations. Okay, but here because you've got 3 lines and you need to allocate 3 people, you can actually stop at this point. Now, so A has 0 positions in, so let me write this as 1, 2, and 3 batting positions. And so A has zeros in positions 2 and 3, and that's 2 and 3. B has zeros in positions 1 and 2, and that's 1 and 2. And C has positions 2 alone, and that's 2. So this is going to actually help you draw an allocation graph, which would be basically A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, and A can go to 2 and 3, and B can go to 1 and 2, and C can go to 2 alone. Now, because C can, so this will help us to actually allocate. Now, because C can take only batting position 2, we allot 2 to C. Now, if 2 is gone, if 2 is taken, then B gets position 1 and A gets position 3, and that is the allocations. So, to maximize the team's score, the only difference is the very first step. Now, if you were to look at this question more analytically, and if it came as a multiple choice question, and you really didn't have to show any working, you could actually just look at it. Some questions are relatively easy, which can be just looked at and worked out, whereas some may need some working. Now, if you look at the original data given, the maximum values are 25, and they occur in these 3 positions. Now, if you look at C, B has an option of doing either position 1 or position 2, but looking at C, he has maximum score only in position 2. So, we will allocate C to 2. And that takes away the second position. Now you're left with a really high maximum score for B at 1. And so B is given 1, and automatically A gets 3. But if you look at A, you can see that he gets a maximum score in batting position 2 and in batting position 3. But because he can't get 2 of 24, he takes position 3. So this is sometimes some tables are relatively easy to work on, whereas some it may be, if you're one of those students who needs to do work in order to come to an answer, this is the way to go. All the best.